So, Ryan, I'm going to kind of go through some of these articles here really quick. Kind of get the base of the story, and then we'll kind of go over it. So what I think I'm going to do is just read an article, start with that part, and then get your thoughts on that, and then go to the next part and from there. So,
Let's do it.
and the story we want to talk about starting off the top is this one, which I touched on a little bit last week with the Warner Brothers thing. Warner Brothers moving their entire 21 movie slate to debut on HBO Max, day and date with cinemas, and the whole shakeup with that. So obviously I debuted this article last week on the Movie Idiot Show. And then shortly after that, the shit hit the fan. The shit totally hit the fan. So after that, we got Christopher Nolan, who comes out shortly after that. Now, before I get into Nolan's comments, when they did the day and date release they were talking about Wonder Woman 84, and when they did the day and date release on that, Ryan, they paid Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot their points on the back end. They paid them in advance, so they talked to them previously, told them what they were planning to do, and paid them. So right there, that's the first domino that fell with this. So far, okay, they moved one movie, and then they were talking about doing the rest of them. But when they moved the first one, before they did the rest of them, they talked to their partners and they made a deal. So far, good, bad, and different. What do you think?
With the Wonder Woman 84 thing, I'm relatively indifferent about it, but that was a kind of a singular event.
Yes.
And like you said, it was a consulted event. Patty Jenkins, Gal Gadot, they got their points. There was nothing. Wonder Woman 84 has been so anticipated, and it's just been sitting on their shelf. It's losing them money, and I don't know how a movie sitting on a shelf really can lose money once it's already complete. But in whatever Hollywood accounting world they have, fine.
It's
losing
loans.
them money.
It's loans. They lose it in loans.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So.
And that's the No Time to Die, I know that's MGM, but No Time to Die constantly getting pushed back has cost MGM over $40 million just to keep pushing the date back for that. So even with pushing Wonder Woman back, fine, WB's losing millions of dollars. So they want to get it off their shelves. They want to get it out. People want to see it. Here we go. They've come up with the plan. We get it on Christmas.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, cool. So first step. Okay, fine. Second step, then they announced the whole push off of all the movies, day and date release, HBO Max, and theaters at the same time. So now you've pissed off all the theaters right away, because the theaters are not fans of day and date release, obviously. And you've also pissed off your biggest director, Mr. Christopher Nolan, who says, and I quote, and I want to get this quote right, so give me a second to pull it up, because I want to make sure I don't mess this up. I have it here. Hold on.
Is it the going to bed working for the greatest movie studio?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I want to read it exactly as he said it. Damn it, it was right here in the article too. Here I go, man. Here we go. All right. Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out they were working for the worst streaming service. Now, those are shots fired. He then went on to say it's a very, very messy... It's very, very, very messy. A real bait and switch is what he called it. So right there, Ryan, Nolan's comments. What do you think on that?
Well, Nolan being the diehard cinema guy who refuses to even shoot on digital, he wants everything shot on 35 millimeter when he does his movies. He does the 70 millimeter IMAX format. He's a traditionalist, whatever you want to call it. So Christopher Nolan will always be a shepherd of that theatrical cinematic viewing experience. And I agree with him on that. There are definitely movies, and you and I have talked about this. I know you're on this thought train too, where there are movies that you just need to see in theaters.
Yeah.
You don't say, oh, what am I going to rent on streaming tonight? Oh, I'll rent Tenet. Oh, I'll rent Denis Villeneuve's update of Dune. That's a big movie.
Which
Dune is
we're gonna get to
movie.
That. Don't beat me to this one. We're gonna get to that.
I won't. So I get that the day and date thing, it's like it allows the audience to choose. What are you going to do? Do you want to just stay at home and watch the movie on HBO Max, or do you want to go to the theater? So, fine, it gives the consumer the ability to choose. But on the flip side, you are now spitting in the face, like exactly what Nolan said, of all these filmmakers that have worked on these products through the pandemic, mind you. I mean, it's not as if making Godzilla versus Kong was any easier as it was filming in 2020, at the beginning of 2020,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or Denis Villeneuve finishing Dune in 2020, once again, wasn't any easier. So you had filmmakers that not only were already passionate about this to begin with, but then continued to work on this because they believed in their product.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, well, yeah, guys, we're just going to do this instead. And there was no consulting.
Yeah.
That there was literally no consulting. So the lack of transparency on WB's part is kind of what's appalling in the whole situation, is that it's like the definition of going off half-cocked.
Yeah. Yep.
They just shot from the hip, and we're like, oh, a buckshot.
Yep. And I agree. I feel exactly the same as you on that front. I think they, like you said, went off half-cocked, and they, again, to not even consult. And that brings me to the next part of all of this. So the next part being this next article I'm going to bring up right here. Directors Guild criticizes Warner Brothers over HBO Max deal. Yeah. So, and in this article, they say, let's see, where is the quote that I was looking for? Here we go. There's so much controversy around it because they didn't tell anyone. That was Nolan's comment too. But yeah, so they were all blindsided. The DGA and Warner Brothers. Let's see here. I'm trying to find. I know there was a quote from the DGA. Anyway, the point being is that the DGA, the Directors Guild of America, has been very adamant that they are obviously against this, and now there are rumors that they could even boycott Warner Brothers. So the Directors Guild, all the directors, which like 95% of the directors in Hollywood, minus like a Robert Rodriguez, are part of the Directors Guild of America. So if they all walk, it's bigger than just that too, because all the directors will walk, and then all those unions in Hollywood stick together. So the SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, they're going to walk. The Writers Guild, they're going to walk. There's a good chance that if Warner Brothers keeps going with this, that they're going to get most of the top directors, actors, and writers. They're going to walk. They're going to stay away from Warner Brothers.
Well, and the other flip side to that is Warner Brothers being one of the big five. All the big fives essentially have to play by guild rules. That's actually one of the reasons why 15 years ago Robert Rodriguez left the DGA, is because he was a director who kind of cut his teeth in indie film. I mean, if you know the history of El Mariachi, he donated his body to medical science to raise the budget to film El Mariachi.
What?
Yeah. Robert Rodriguez funded El Mariachi with $7,500 that he made by donating his body to medical science.
Oh my God. I did not know that.
So, yeah.
Holy
shit.
That's dedication. That's dedication to filmmaking.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's dedication. I'm not going that far. But WB has to WB has to play by guild rules, and it's like, I don't know the specifics of it. I mean, I'm not a guild member or anything like that, but I know that any project they do, they have to hire actors who are card-carrying members of SAG-AFTRA. They have to hire directors who are card-carrying members of DGA. Their scripts have to be written by WGA writers. It's not like they can just choose like, oh, well, okay, you don't want to work with us, we don't want to work with you, fine. We're just going to go start hiring indie filmmakers. They just legally cannot do that.
Yeah.
They used to have Warner Independent, which was allowed to do that, but Warner Independent went.
So here's my question for you then. Let's say the guild is the one who walks. Is then Warner Brothers, then they're open to hire whoever they want, right? Because they're not the one breaching contract, technically, right? Theoretically. It works like any other business, right?
You would think so. That's kind of like on the nose. That's what you would kind of think. But with the way the guilds work, I wouldn't put it past that there would just be years upon years of litigation
I'm
involved
sure
in it.
Yeah.
And, you and I will probably even be dead by the time they'd settle it.
Sure. The point being is that Warner Brothers would be in real trouble.
Right. Unless they can come to some type of agreement with the guilds. But once again, now that they've already... If they wanted to play the game properly, they should not have dropped this announcement without consulting all their producing partners. And I mean, I'm not saying go to every single filmmaker and be like, hey, Christopher Nolan, I know we've had a business relationship for 20 years, but what do you think of this? Or, hey, Denis Villeneuve, I know, we've been having a good relationship for the last 5 years. What do you think of this? It's not really their business so much as it is like with Legendary Pictures, which is a huge producing aspect of Warner Brothers.
And that's another thing we're going to get to very shortly.
Yes, and that's like, they didn't even consult with Legendary Pictures. And it's like, Legendary Pictures is like, you produced Batman Begins, you produced The Dark Knight, you produced, I'm now drawing a blank on Legendary Pictures. Oh, Godzilla, though. They produced Godzilla.
Well, and they're producing Dune. They're actually financed, I think it was like 70% of Dune.
Yeah.
They financed. So, and like I said, we're going to get into that in a minute because that's one of the next articles coming up. So, jumping into this, this morning, when I was doing some last minute show prep, I ran across this article here. So you were talking about Denis Villeneuve, and he spoke out. And not only did he spoke out, he literally wrote an article in Variety himself.
Oh yeah, yep.
So
I didn't check it out yet.
Which
I heard about it.
I didn't realize when I first saw this. I was like, oh, this is an article. I was looking for the quote. I'm like, I can't find his quote. And then I scrolled back up and I saw it's by him. So I'm going to read some of this. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of it here, but here's what he had to say. He said, I learned in the news that Warner Brothers has decided to release Dune on HBO Max at the same time as our theatrical release, using prominent images from our movie to promote their streaming service. With this decision, AT&T has hijacked one of the most respectable and important studios in film history. There is absolutely no love for cinema, nor for the audience here. It is all about the survival of a telecom mammoth, AT&T. A telecom mammoth. Oh, the page jumped on me. These ads really mess this up. Where was I? AT&T hijacked most respectable telecom mammoth, and that is currently being in astronomical debt, more than $150 billion. So yeah, AT&T, the parent company of Warner Brothers, is $150 billion in debt. Therefore, even though Dune is about cinema and audiences, AT&T is about his own survival on Wall Street, with HBO Max's launch a failure thus far. AT&T has decided to sacrifice Warner Brothers' entire 2021 slate in a desperate attempt to grab the audience's attention. Now, I will say this. I wouldn't consider HBO Max's launch a failure. It hasn't been great. They should have put it on Roku. They should have put it on Fire Stick right away. They've made the Fire Stick deal, and they're going to have the Roku deal most likely by the end of the year, probably before December 25th when Wonder Woman hits.
Wait a minute, you mean they went off half-cocked again?
Yeah, exactly. And it was a poor decision on their part to do that. But I would say I would stop short in calling it a failure, because they do have quite a bit. I don't remember what the exact number is, but it's a pretty decent subscriber base for year one. Not even year one. It's been like, what, a quarter?
Right.
So, he goes on. Warner Brothers' sudden reversal from being a legacy home filmmakers to a new era of complete disregard draws a clear line for me. Filmmaking is a collaboration reliant on mutual trust, teamwork, and Warner Brothers has declared that they are no longer on the same team. And he's going to keep going on. I'm not going to read all of it because it's a pretty long article. But the point being is what you were saying, that Warner Brothers has not consulted with anybody on this. And that brings, and he brought it up and you brought it up too, brings up the next article that I was going to talk about, is Legendary. which Legendary financed a significant portion of Dune, which cost roughly $175 million, and Godzilla vs. Kong, which carries a price tag of $160 million. Yet the company was largely kept out of the loop that their films would be included in Warner Brothers' plan to send 17 films, its entire 21 slate, to the streaming service and movie theaters at the same time. So they did not consult with Legendary at all on these decisions, and Legendary financed, again, the majority, and it says the majority of Dune specifically. So you made them pay for it, and then you aren't going to let them make the money that they could possibly make on it. And I understand that, you know, the pandemic's going on right now, but at the same time, by the time Dune's not supposed to release until late next year now. They pushed it off an entire year. So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but they screwed Legendary. They screwed, and Legendary may have a very strong lawsuit. So I know you kind of touched on it, but your thoughts on Legendary and that whole part of this, go.
That's it. I mean, Legendary in and of itself is only a production company. They don't have the distribution arm. So when it comes to this partnership, that once again, we're going back to Batman Begins, which is a 15-year partnership between Legendary and Warner Brothers. And like I said, I'm blanking right now, but I know they've produced a lot more movies for Warner Brothers besides just Batman Begins and besides just Godzilla and Kong Skull Island. Like, they've done a lot of production work and then relied on Warner Brothers to distribute it.
Yeah.
So, yes, of course they have a good case for legal action, because that's exactly it. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of that Hollywood accounting. And of course, Hollywood accounting is very, you know, veiled in it's secrecy. And
it's very difficult. There's a lot to it. And so, I agree. I think, you know, especially to have them finance most of Dune just to turn around and then that's just terrible. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And the final article I have to kind of close out this whole topic hit this morning on Deadline at 6:08 a.m. And the headline is, AMC Entertainment warns cash may be gone in January, slams Warner Brothers. So, struggling AMC Entertainment says it risks running out of funds in January. In its latest warning cry, it said it needs $750 million to remain viable through 2021. Even if it raises that, it still risks bankruptcy next year if moviegoing doesn't pick up, and Warner Brothers may have made that harder to accomplish when they moved their whole slate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm going to add something to this that's not in this article. The day that Warner Brothers made that announcement, in the morning, AMC made an announcement that they have refinanced some more stock and sold off some more stock to get some cash assets, and their stock was flying up, and they were looking good because they were selling off stock and people were buying. And with the news of the vaccine and everything else, they were riding a high wave.
Yeah, that was a big day. That was a big day.
By noon, I think it was around noon when AT&T and Warner dropped that news that they were going to move the whole slate, that whole thing changed. So now AMC is trying to sell off their stock.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers fucked them over that day before fucking them over for the whole year, or fucking them over for the whole year. So they screwed AMC over double in one move. So... yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. That's the whole mess right now.
That was about it. And AMC, that was a really big day. AMC's stock, which had been hovering about $2 a share, you know, plus or minus 10 cents. The day that the vaccine news broke, they opened at Friday. The previous Friday, they closed at like $2.49 a share.
Yeah.
They opened at $4.27 a share.
Yep. And people were investing in theaters again.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, this is going to break. We're going to be fine. And then Warner Brothers did this.
Yeah.
So
also with the stock thing though, you think with how many day traders you have that really just want to make money off of trading and selling and all that other stuff. I mean, your stock, you buy it $2 and some cents a share, and then it opened at $3 a share, $4 a share. Cool. I just made 50% for pushing a couple buttons. Boop, boop, boop. And there it is. It's gone.
Yep.
So there goes that money.
Yeah. And it sucks, man. And WB may have single-handedly killed, the theaters were already in trouble, but they may have single-handed. This could be that nail. It could be that nail in the coffin. I hope it isn't, but it really looks like it is, man. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. But
maybe we consider it. Oh, go ahead.
There is a ray of hope. One sliver ray of hope for theaters, and that's going to come in our next topic in just a second. So before we get to that, though, I forgot to do something at the top of the show because I was so excited to talk about Warner Brothers.
Oh, yes, the tip line.
Yeah, so, all right, guys, so make sure if you guys want to, you can talk to us live during the show. So we're streaming on Twitch, we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on Facebook. You can comment live, and we will answer you and talk to you live as the show goes. Or the best way, of course, to comment and, submit questions to the show is through the tip link. That is streamlabs.com/movie88. Because when you comment with the tip link, you are supporting the show and helping build the channel. And hopefully someday we can make enough money so I can actually pay my guests when they come on. So,
or you pay yourself.
Or pay myself. Yeah, I'm not doing that either. So, but we're trying to build a good community. So if you guys, if you feel so inclined, comment via the tip link, and that would be awesome and help us out and help build this channel. So that's what we're trying to do. And one more thing before we get to our next main topic, of course, make sure you guys subscribe, like, share, comments, all that stuff, because every like, share, comment, subscription helps build the channel and helps build this community, and that's what we're trying to do. So, all right, now